Hey dosers, what's up and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be focusing on synthetic division of polynomials. So we'll get right into it. So first off, what is a polynomial? So you can see the definition written for you here. A polynomial function or simply a polynomial is an expression of the form, and this is the form of a polynomial. So you can take your time, pause the video to read this definition if you want to, but I just want to focus on this part over here, the degree of the polynomial. So degree of f of x is equal to n. What does that mean? So the highest power of x is called the degree of a polynomial, and we write it like this. This is how we write it. So this is an example given. F of x is equal to 5x to the power of 4 plus 3x squared minus 7x plus 2. So if we use our definition to find the degree of this polynomial, the highest power of x, and the highest power of x here is clearly 4 because it's 5x to the power of 4. So hence our degree of f of x is equal to 4. The same applies for g of x. Since our highest power of x is x to the power of 5, our degree of g of x is equal to 5. And this is an example of different functions that we have: constant functions, linear functions, quadratic functions, cubic functions, and quartic functions, and the related degrees. Since in a quartic, the highest power of x would be 4, its degree would also be 4. The same applies for each of these functions over here. Now, let's look at different actions a polynomial can take. So, the first action a polynomial can take is a polynomial can be added, or a polynomial can be subtracted. The second action is a polynomial can be multiplied. The third action is a polynomial can be divided. And this is what we're going to be focusing on today: division of polynomials, hence synthetic division. So let's get right into it. If we divide two polynomials by f of x by g of x, we obtain two polynomials in return. So this means if we do f of x over g of x, you get two things. You get the q of x and r of x. So q of x represents the quotient, and r of x represents the remainder. And it'll make more sense once I explain it in terms of long division. So in long division, you obviously have your divider, you have your original thing, and then up here is where you get your q of x. Down here is where you get your r of x, because that's your remainder. Down here, that's your remainder, and up here you'll get your quotient. That's what it represents over here. And q of x and r of x are represented in such a way that after doing the division, to check whether your quotient and remainder are correct, you can do f of x times the divisor times q of x plus r of x. And this should give you f of x in return. But this only applies if r of x is equal to 0, or the degree of r of x, that means the highest power of x is less than the highest power of g of x. Or if it's not, if the degree of r of x is higher than the degree of g of x, that means that r of x is equal to 0. And that's what it means. Now let's try a question, and I'm going to explain what synthetic division is now. So in synthetic division, the first thing that you have to do is still draw your table for division. So you draw your table first thing. Now, obviously, you have to read the question first, sorry. Find the quotient when f of x is equal to 9x cubed plus 12x squared minus 5x plus 1 is divided by 3x minus 1. So in synthetic division, you don't take this and you don't take this. You remove the x's, and I'm going to show you how you do that. So for 3x minus 1, that is your divisor right now. So x is equal to 1 over 3, since you just solve for x. You equate this to 0 and you solve for x, you get x is equal to 1 over 3. So that is what you put over here, in this column over here. And then you look at the numbers given with the x's over here, and the numbers without the x too, because there's one without an x too. So you just take those numbers and plug them in here. In the top column, in the top row. 9, 12, minus 5, and plus 1. and you put these in, and then you start to do your synthetic division. So the first thing that you do is you bring the 9 down. Once you bring the 9 down, that's your first step done. Once that is done, what you do is you multiply whatever is given over here, so in this case 1/3, by this number over here. So 1/3 times 9 is 3, and then you plug 3 back into here, and then you add these two. Yes? This is the rule of synthetic division. Every time you get a number down here, you multiply it and then you add it back up again until you're done doing all of it, and then you get a remainder. So 12 plus 3 is 15, and then 15 times 1 over 3. 15 times 1 over 3. Again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm timesing whatever is our divisor, 1 over 3, by 15 to get 5. So again, I add these two up, and then I bring it down. Once I bring it down, I get 0 minus 5 plus 5. You get 0. And then you multiply that again by 1 over 3. So 1 over 3 times 0 is obviously 0. So you put 0 over here and you add it to 1. And you get 1. So now you must be wondering, where's our remainder, and like where's our quotient? I'm kind of confused over here. Help me out a little bit, But it's really simple over here. Basically, your quotient is this expression here. This is q of x, and your remainder is this here. This is your r of x. Your remainder will be 1, and your quotient will be 9x squared plus 15x. That is what your quotient will be. Since you're moving 1 degree, you can't obviously write it as 9x plus 15. Since it's a cubic equation, you have to write it in this way. If it was a quartic equation and you only got 2 terms, you would have to write 9x cubed plus 15x squared. 15x cubed. 15x squared, yes. Yeah, and that's synthetic division for you. Now I have attached a question for you guys to attempt in your own time, and obviously the mark scheme's on the next page. So go ahead, go in the description and click on that Canva link and try to solve this question in your own time. It will really help you in synthetic division. Along with this, in the description below, there is a link for one-on-one tutoring with me for no price whatsoever. It's completely free. So go ahead and book that anytime that you want. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and have a good day.